I was watching some footage from New York. They're trying to get people to make wearing masks like illegal. And it's like one of those times where it's like I feel like I'm just like gonna have a nervous breakdown, because like 3 years ago these were the same motherfuckers telling me if you didn't wear one you were killing grandmothers and you're a Trump supporter and all this other shit. Now they're saying, now they're trying to enforce people not wearing them. And they're talking to all these robot civilians, fucking explaining why it's a bad idea that people are able to wear them. And, you know, I'll going down the list of like, well, you know, it hides your identity, and how are people supposed to know who you are? And so I'm just sitting there watching this going like, are they fucking serious? They really are robots. Like, you know, oh, speaking of that, there's a guy I found on YouTube that explains what the 3 different kinds of people are. Like how I always say, there's we happy few, and then most of the rest of these people out here are fucking not alive. They're like soulless fucking robot automatons. He went and has the names for like what they're called, or what other cultures have called them. I'll put a link to it. I've never seen this guy before, but I just happened to catch him on a short about it. How in other cultures, the idea is there are people that have souls, like us, and then there are the robots, which is what everybody else is pretty much out here. And then there's like in between people that have a little bit of soul, a little bit of you know, they're able to kind of be like real, you know, but I don't know how to identify those kind of people. I'm just assuming most people I run into are just soulless fucking automatons, because like 5%, there's like well, I mean, I don't know if 5% is scientifically accurate, but that's just a number that's been bopping around in schizo circles over the past 5 or so years. I thought I was onto something like that I came up with myself. There was a while where I was like, you know what, I think some of these people may not have divinity, and that's why they act the way they do, because they're like robots, and you know, they're actually part of the system, you know, part of this, whatever you want to call it, the system that we find ourselves in. And they're like a tool, like Photoshop. When you have Photoshop and you have a shader, I thought it was brilliant. And no, it turns out this is a very old concept where, and I don't know what if these other cultures and peoples have always determined that the real people, the players, the ones with a soul who understand the divinity and have some relationship with God, I don't know if they were always the smallest percentage, but I feel like that would make sense, you know. But yeah, it just, you see things like that New York story, it just blows my mind, because they were the same ones, you know, wanting to create a second class of citizenry and have you depersoned if you didn't wear the mask and do the mandates and do all the things they're telling you to. Now, 3 years later, and they're decrying mask wearers and how they're bad for crime, and how you have to unmask these guys. You had like these little signs saying unmask them. Fucking dude, like that just happened, right? Like we're not in a fucking time warp here, right? We just went through that, didn't we? I don't have any respect for them. Like, you don't want to start thinking, even if you are better than them because you're more of a real person, you don't want to develop that attitude, because it's poisonous and it can sink into other aspects of your life and kind of make you an asshole. So like I always say, even though they don't deserve your kindness, you should just always treat them the way you want people to treat you. Because it's about behavior. You know, if it's about anything, it's about behavior. The test or the place or whatever we're doing here, you know. Whatever still remains of it. But yeah, it's hard to have respect for them. They're just they're robots, man. They're robots. Another aspect of it too is that there's a lot of these Palestinian protests, which I discovered on poll. A lot of Mossad guys are sent here to disguise themselves as Palestinian protesters. In fact, they caught a guy and released all his information. I have it saved, but I know once that got out, I don't know what happened to the original uploaders of that stuff, but I guess they were real upset about that. And I think something happened to the original poster of that stuff, like they contacted him somehow. And then after that, I never heard much about it, but I kept all the information. And basically what they were doing is they were sending Mossad agents over here to rile up, or not rile up, but just pretend to be the opposition. So they could then just use that for in their favor, you know, war through deception. You know, they actually, all the stuff that's happening to them, they're doing themselves. Down to the war situation. They needed to clear out Gaza so they can build a gay temple. And so they had to have a justification in the eyes of the world, I guess. And plus, with evil, everything works in a way where, you know, they have to put all this stuff out in front of you so you can see what's happening. So that if you don't object, your silence is signing off on their fucking activity. So they have to do it out in the open, but they have their fake terrorist organization that they created. And there was something posted the other day that I forget what channel, was it Jimmy Dory of all places, where they said they had found some evidence that there was collusion with Netanyahu. And so hopefully, I mean, people will start to see that. And, well, who am I kidding? People aren't going to see anything. I always say that, like, oh yeah, people are going to see something, and you know, it's going to make some kind of difference. No, it won't. These people aren't capable of doing anything like that. We're the only ones, you know, and we only have so much stuff we can do too. You know, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But yeah, it's funny because I said that the second day. I'm like, this is stupid, this whole attack thing. The fucking Ewok ladder terrorists. First of all, that organization is created by them. It's created by Israel themselves, you know. What they do is to give themselves an excuse to just do evil shit. They create their opposition that's persecuting them. Just like when the rabbi would go around, he'd spray swastikas on the synagogue. You know, and then they catch him doing it. It's the same thing. It's just how they operate. But, yeah, I knew, like, right away that it was bullshit. And, you know, I'd say that on the internet and people get upset. You know, they get upset about everything on the internet anyway, but at least someone else is saying it now. But I think people know, you know, because I've talked to a lot of people that also knew that. But yeah, Hamas is absolutely a creation, just like ISIS is, or ISIL, or all these Taliban, which means the toilet in Arabic. These are all creations of the West. That, you know, hey, we want the oil in this country. A good one too is, who is that guy? Oh, I'm not going to remember any of the names involved with this, so I shouldn't even bring it up. Basically, what they do is they want something somewhere. Like, hey, we want to go to this country and take their oil. So what we'll do is we'll put one of our terrorist groups there and say, oh, they're hurting all the people in the local villages. This terrorist group is striking. We have to go there and wipe them out. and then they go there and they fuck shit up. You know, if they want to clear out a village with civilians, all they say is, they were hiding with the civilians. We had to level that neighborhood. And meanwhile, they don't even exist. You know, sometimes for the bigger kind of demonstrations, and they'll have have mercenaries, like people they hire just to pose as these terrorists. But for the most part, they're not even doing anything because they're not even there and they don't even exist. It's all fake. Like a lot of, what was it, in Iraq? A lot of like artifacts were being destroyed, and they were saying it was being done by a terrorist group. They were fucking doing it. They were just blaming it on their fake terrorist, made up terrorist group. Do we really need fucking shitty hip hop music this early in the morning? My God. Oh, speaking of shitty hip hop music, one of the Freds was in town. Not, man. Come on, man. The not Fred from Northern Ireland, but another Fred that's around here sometimes. Not around Waikiki, but around the channel message boards, comment section. And he said he was here like a week ago, and he was complaining about what a shithole it's become. And he's right. And the reason it has gotten so bad is because, like as he says in his comment, there are people here that never used to be here. They were extremely rare. You'd never see someone like that. Like, it was very rare to see someone like that. You know, they just weren't here. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One thing is the cost situation. It costs a lot of money to come here. Usually people in that group are in the lower economic rung. And so, I mean, there's a barrier. Now it's all you see. You know, you used to, I mean, it was so rare that I remember when I first moved here, I don't know, maybe a month in, I saw one of those particular kind of people at the 24-hour store up the end of my street, and I ran home and told Nia, like I was Charlie with the golden ticket. Nia, I just saw, this guy at the store. She's like, really? You don't see many of them here, And I just like, I love this place, because I lived with them as most of my adult life, and it's tricky, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, you get all that bullshit. Oh, speaking of that bullshit too, the thing I used to get in the hood a lot is that they'd do this move where they would put these CDs in your hands and then demand money. But I haven't dealt with that since I fucking lived in Lawrence, certainly not here. And I ran into it the other day here. And I'm so used to grabbing things. I see people standing on the sides out here handing out things for restaurants and stuff. I always feel bad. So I take their stuff just to, be nice. So my head was wrapped up in something. I was thinking about something. And one of them hit me with the CD. They're like, oh, thanks, man. And he's like, yo, hold up. I'm like, I see what you're doing. You're one of those fucking guys. No, get this out of here. I don't want this. It's like, Jesus, they got the CD guys here. And, because they got the guys here that do that stuff now. Also, and they're not the best. They're like not sending their best. These aren't the doctors and the lawyers. These are people from bad areas because they're all in the government. They're not on welfare because that would show up. So they're all in SSDI. That's some information I got. And what the reason, I think the reason they put them at SSDI is because that could be hidden under medical. So they're all on SSDI. And so they come over here, paid for by the government, and they come here and they're on the government, and they act like the kind of people that are on the government. I've said this so many times, I took a broken record, but it bears repeating now. Almost 50% increase in violent crimes in 1 year. 80% in 1 year for homicide. We've had murders now here, muggings, all kinds of shit we've never had here before, or never. And I can't talk about this again. I've talked about this so many times. It just blows me out because prior to lockdowns, it was awesome here. It was the second safest city in the U.S. Then COVID came along. The federal government gave Hawaii the money for emergency funds. Hawaii said, fuck you, we're holding on to it. And they starved people out. Unfortunately, the ones that got hit the worst were generational islanders. You know, Samoans, Filipinos, the few native Hawaiians that were here. People that have had families here, Pacific Islanders that were here for generations, they got squeezed out. They had to leave because they were withholding funds. The only people that could make it through and hang on were people that had some money put away. My family, my in-laws had money because they used to have businesses here on the island. So we were lucky, we were able to hold out. But if a lot of people that just had kids or a family, they can't live without any money, and they weren't giving them money. So what in essence what it did is it cleared out a lot of places, housing rentals, houses just that people own, other apartments in this area. They cleared all these places out. Then the federal government started having these seminars where they would meet with, they had a Skype thing too, where if you own land or own property here, any kind of apartments, whatever, what they said is, hey, we don't know when this is going to end. We don't know when you're going to have money again. We don't know when people have money again. But if you let us turn it into low-income housing, we can start paying you right away. Now, a lot of these people don't live here. Live somewhere else. And if they do live here, they don't live in the exact neighborhoods, where their rentals are, so they don't give a shit. So they're like, all right. So they turned them on to low-income housing and then brought in people that were already on the mainland. And they all came over from the mainland, and some from Africa too, from the continent, because it's like Haitians and other things like that came here too. I have a friend, one of my only good friends on the island, one I talk to in person, is from Zimbabwe, but she came before any of the government stuff. But it's rare that someone comes from Africa. It used to be. It used to be rare to see anyone like that at all. Now, that's kind of all you see when you go outside. It's just, that's all you see, So it's weird, because we never had that here before. And we never had the kinds of violence they specialize in either. So, yeah. And there's a lot of reasons that they had to bring them here. But, they're doing it to every city in the West, of course. They want every city to be dangerous and chaotic and all that other shit. But in Hawaii especially, they were real upset when, the local politicians and the local fucking government was, when the George Floyd thing happened. When that thing went down, there was supposed to be a protest or some kind of march or something supposed to happen here. And what they did is they boarded up every window at all these fucking places. They set this place up like a hurricane was coming. And they had all this psyop shit going on. There were guys driving on in trucks saying, Antifa's here to kill you. They're going to get you and your family. Like, it was, and the cops wouldn't stop them, so I know it was someone they were expecting. He was pretending to be a concerned citizen. And he had a megaphone. And he'd be saying, watch out, Antifa's coming. And indeed, there were a lot of Antifa guys shipped in. Because I'm a noticer. So I started noticing guys with all the same backpacks, all the same shoes, in stores buying stuff like batteries and like tape and Band-Aids, stuff like that, medical stuff. Like white guys by themselves, because they're all white, right? And just walking around. I said, these are fucking Antifa people. I started taking pictures of them. At the time, I didn't have a channel. I had just my Instagram. One of, whatever Instagram that was, has long since been banned because they're constantly banning my Instagrams. I gotta move around. Anyway, they sent them here, and the construction sites had pallets of bricks placed near the fucking openings of all of them. Yeah, it was crazy. So they were expecting it to go down. No one came out for it. No one came out for it. And they were pissed. And the reason is because Islanders don't give a shit about police brutality on black people. Walking home one day, over here in the morning when I dropped Mia off at work, when she used to work down here over on River Street. And there's this local girl comes up to me. She looked like a little worse for wear. I was probably partying the night before. She said, "Can I walk home with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "I live up here, yeah." You know, and I said, "What, you get a fight or something?" She said, "Yeah, I've gotten a fight with this black guy." I'm like, "A black guy?" Well, because they do, you know. And she's like, "Yeah, he was going on about how police beat up, you know, black people." And I said, "We don't care about that here because we have our own problems with the police." And they got in a fight over it, a punch-up fight. But she summed up exactly what it is. The Islanders, they have their own problem with the police. They have their own problem with the government. A lot of the police are Islanders, though, and they're corrupt as fuck, you know, which is weird. That's another thing, though. The Islanders here, like, they throw each other under the bus really bad. There's no solidarity in that culture at all. It's too bad, but hey, not my culture. But yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. They don't care about George Floyd because they have their own problems with the cops, and they're not gonna, you know, go out and start yelling for black people. And there was no black people here on the island. It was very rare to see them. So yeah, they remedied all that shit when COVID hit, and people notice it. People talk to me about it, like kind of on the DL. They're afraid, though. They're afraid to talk about it. You know, my neighbors will come to me in hushed tones. I remember during, you know, COVID was still happening. When they first opened the island up, we saw a lot of people of that background here. We thought they were just tourists. He's like, "Wow, a lot of this kind of person tourists now, huh? What's going on?" Now, if you ever lived in a bad neighborhood, or if you lived around certain kind of people, these aren't the people that would ever give a shit about going on a Hawaiian vacation. They just don't do that. That's not something they care about. They don't plan that far ahead with anything. It's abstract thinking. That's not their fucking thing. So I think what happened first is before they moved them here, they'd let them come out and see the place, because I was noticing hotels, the one right next to Ross in particular, I remember seeing a whole group coming out, like the tour guides, and it was just all black people. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Then I saw some showing up on buses, and then I kind of put everything together. They let them come here and see the place and say, hey, this is, you know, what it's like, and before they move them here. And then they move them here. And they certainly have moved them here. The Japanese, what is it, consulate? Japanese travel, whatever, has given a warning to Japanese tourists not to come here after a Japanese tourist was had a gun pulled on him down here at Waikiki Beach. I remember too, the first time I started hearing, we've never seen anything like this here. There was a jewelry store, obviously, like the first major thing. Now all this shit happens all the time anyway, even though it never did before. And now, and everybody was like, oh, well, people got crazy, I guess. And it was on TV, and it was a jewelry store that got hit over in like a city type crime. They came in real heavy. You know, you can see they're all black guys from their sleeves were between their glove and their, you know, jacket. It was a city style, like coming real heavy, yelling, rob the place, you know, jewelry store. So they were just coming over here and go, wow, look at all these places, you know, endless fucking places for us to hit up. The thing is, the reason, like, we've never seen that kind of stuff here before is because even if there are island guys that are, like, in gangs, and there's some real badass dudes out here you don't want to fuck with, but they're not going to attack their own stores. You know, they're not going to attack their own businesses because that's their ohana. They probably know the people that live there. They don't do that. These fucking guys from Philly, they don't give a fuck. They kill each other. They rob each other. They kill each other. So when they come out here, they were just like, fuck. You know, it was like being in a candy store. They see all these places they can rob that they couldn't get on the mainland that they have here now. And they're easy pickings because no one's used to that kind of thing. So people get rolled. Cops don't know how to deal with it because they're not used to that kind of thing. You know, they're very, I don't know, like the cops here, I've never heard anyone say, oh shit, here come the cops. You know what I mean? I've had nice interactions with them. I think it's kind of fucked how they sent all those people in a fire on Maui. Their own people, and that's what I'm saying by they like to throw their own people under the bus. I mean, they've been throwing their own people under the bus since the very first fucking Caucasians showed up in ships. You know, they're just throwing each other on the bus to get shit from them. And and it never stopped. It never stopped. Never stopped. I was talking to someone the other day on Quora. I wasn't talking to them. But it was about how the Hawaii's D-Day, the overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom. The day that those British guys and Americans came in and said, we're just taking this place. And they locked the Queen down in her palace. And you go to fatalities or from that day, how many people died in this skirmish? 0. There was no pushback. They let them take everything. And the guy, and it's funny because I had a theory as to why that happened. And this guy who was talking to me on Quora said exactly what I was thinking. He was like, well, King Kamehameha, 100 years prior, he brought peace between the islands, you know? And so there wasn't any war. There was no need for warriors. It became a peaceful kingdom where everyone, you know, we didn't have fighters anymore. And I used to think, poor King Kamehameha, he must have been fucking bulldozed into doing that so then they could come back at some point in the future and not have anyone to fight them. Nah, he knew. He was in on it too. See fucking throwing your people under the bus. I'd never say that though, because someone would try to kill me probably for saying that, but it's true. He knew what would happen. So what happened is they because they used to have fierce warriors. You guys are bad men. And when they were out the islands together, there was no need for them to fight, so everybody just got fat and, you know, stopped being able to fight, didn't know how to fight. And so they were scared. So when, you know, a small contingent of people showed up and said, we're taking it, everybody's like, fuck that. We don't want none. And I think kind of that could be why they hate, a lot of them hate Holly so much now, because I think there's a shame thing there. Like, why didn't our ancestors do anything? And, you know, that's, I mean, shit. And then the guy who was talking to me on Quora about it, he was like, well, you know, what do you expect to do? The you know, these Hawaiians to fight against the British government? They're not going to win. And I wanted to fucking bomb it. Because it made me think of the island my people are from. Ireland. Same exact scenario. But a very different response. They didn't think they could beat the British Empire. Not from the first day of fighting, they didn't think they could. But they fucking fought for decades and decades and decades and decades. Because they weren't going to lay down for these guys. Just a different mentality. But there's a lot more camaraderie in that culture too. Like people, you know, there's not a lot of backstabbing going on like there is here. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like, who knows. But yeah, a lot of bad things happened. A lot of sons died. A lot of brothers died. Families were torn apart. It was horrible. I mean, the troubles, you know, you can read about it. I know friends that, you know, had brothers and families and friends that died in it too. You know, and it's like, they didn't think they could beat the British Empire. But they didn't lay down and just say, oh, well, like they did here. And I think because they did that, I think there's a shame, like maybe a generational kind of shame. And that's why they hate the white man so much. And man, that they do. I've always been treated okay. I've never really had a problem. People are always nice to me, but, you know, all their music is about it. All their stories, and it's like, you want to say, like, dude, I don't know, whatever. It's there for you to see, you know, make up your own mind about what happened there. So, yeah, as far as them being a defense for all this, for all these new people coming in, they're trashing their island and fucking robbing, killing people, they ain't gonna do shit. You know, they're not known for doing shit. Obviously, as we just fucking touched on. You know, they'll gang up on a Holly at the fucking at the bus stop or something, but that's about it. that's about all the resistance you're gonna get from them. But yeah, personally, me, I've never had a problem. You know, I've always been treated really well here. And you know, it's not everybody that that hates the white man, but a lot of them do because they're misinformed. You know, they think like white Americans gave a shit about having this island when they have everything that's here is on the mainland, more plentiful and nicer. This place was wanted by the international banking clan. Our small-hatted friends from the desert wanted this for military reasons, and that's what it's used for. You know, it's a big military base. Whatever. So, is that enough racism for one video? It's not racism though. It's I'm just telling the story. I'm telling facts here. There's no editorializing. Yes, I don't like the fact that people are getting hurt and killed and robbed. That kind of sucks. But you know, I didn't make any comments on the people themselves. But yeah, it's just funny. He came here a week ago and he noticed the change. So what can you do, man? It was all engineered to be this way. It was, you know, I go into it deeper with more detail. I have a whole series on this that I did like a couple years ago. The 46% crime increase series is all about. Now, when I started reporting on it, I didn't understand what was happening. I, you know, figured it out as I went. And when I got to the point where I realized, oh, they just brought in a lot of black people, it was like, oh shit. What do I do now? And I didn't finish the fucking thing. I didn't wrap it up with anything because I'm like, how am I supposed to say this, you know? And but over time, I'm like, you know what? It's what's happened here. It's not. There's nothing. And the whole thing about hate speech too. And don't let them get you with that. Hate speech, it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. You got to understand what hate is. Hate and love are on the same frequency. They're off by a little bit. Because you can't hate someone you don't love. You need to be invested in there. You need to be invested in this person, attached to them in some way. You don't have to, no, you shouldn't say you have to love them. You have to have an intense feeling for them. And you can't have an intense feeling for someone you don't know. So this whole thing, the whole idea of hate speech is fucking retarded and there's nothing real about it. It's just, it's this whole thing that some of our small-hatted friends in the desert came up with again to use to metaphorically bludgeon certain people like myself, about the head and neck with bullshit, you know? So yeah, so basically Hawaii's fucked. No need to come here. Stay away. It's just, it's like going to Philly, except there's a beach. Same kind of people working all around, looking for opportunity, more and more every day. And yeah, the poor islanders, the people whose home this is, got fucking tossed to Las Vegas, where they're all fucking, you know, trying to make a new life there. It's fucking shameful. It's fucking shameful, you know. Yeah, the Pacific Islanders get screwed over the most. It's fucking sad. But they gotta have every city in the West turn into a complete shithole. Because what they have, because then they can come with their order. It's a satanic doctrine thing. It's chaos out of order. As above, so below bullshit. And yeah, they have to make it so bad so that you have to come to them. You know, once things break down bad enough, you know, you have to go to them for security, or them for food. When the places already started closing, you know, downtown is a fucking ghost town. Walmart gone, Ross gone, Walgreens gone, Long's gone. No, Ross still might be there. I think they're the only lone place there in the downtown. Yeah, it's fucking, it's fucked. It's fucked. So, but it all works in tandem. Part of the, it sounds crazy. It sounds like conspiratorial. Because it is. I'm sorry. Like these people that are the, you you know, make fun of conspiracy theorists. It's like, yeah, because no one with power, two or more people with power would never get together and make a secret plan to benefit themselves. Right? That's just crazy talk. That's just tinfoil hat time. Fuck you, they're robots. Robots, you'll try to explain anything to people. Stop explaining things to people. You know, it's something you gotta do, because you gotta realize you're only gonna make yourself crazy, and you're gonna get yourself unwanted attention. Hey, that guy over there told me this, he's talking about conspiracy theory. And the next thing you know, you get the ice cream van out in front of your house. You don't need that shit. Preaching to the choir, though. You guys know all this stuff. But, you know, I guess I have to talk about it because it's fucking therapy. It's a fucking therapy session, basically. We have fun now. I think. Till next time. Thanks for dropping in. I do appreciate it. I like seeing you guys in the comments too. I like talking to you guys. I always learn something. And till next we meet, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.